Our tour of Blue Ridge continues this morning. Yesterday we had the privilege of checking in with Bill Oyster and his team over at Oyster Bamboo. We have gone a far way just across the street now this morning, and we are at 4 Elements Fine Art, where we are being wowed by the work and artistry of George Sherriez. Thank you so much for letting us be here.
Well, thank you for coming. I appreciate it.
The name says it all. It's 4 Elements Fine Art. So you have this really for all of the senses, George.
Yeah.
We are in the fire section, correct?
That is correct, yeah. I had a vision of, of how we wanted this gallery to be, because a lot of people come here to escape, the modern day world, come from the city to, get back to nature. Mm-hmm. So we thought, what better way to kind of reconnect people, with nature, and the elements of nature than through art. So a lot of the art I create here is through the elements of nature. I do pyrography, which is fire on wood. Which is
what we are looking at behind us.
Yeah.
It's very difficult for me to look at you and not have my eye dart, but I don't want to be rude. Pyrography, explain to us what this medium is.
It's a Greek term. You may have heard of the term pyromaniac. Mm-hmm. So it's a Greek term that means writing with fire. Traditionally, it was used with heated metal tips, that they would actually heat the metal tip and actually write and scorch the wood. And when I first started, my parents gave me the little burning kit where I had the plank of wood with the bark on the edge with the heated metal tips. But after some time and after experimenting later on, I found that an open flame works really well for getting shading, and it really brings out the grain of the wood. And it really makes each piece unique because, I choose the grain of the wood to match the animal. So it's almost like, the piece of wood you'd never find another piece of wood that's going to match up with that quite the way it does.
It is truly one of a kind.
It is,
in all parts of the piece. You say this with kind of a nonchalant way, that my parents gave me this wood burning kit at 12 and I began to kind of play around. Yeah. Maybe you consider it playing around, but the world sees it quite differently. I mean, you are among the top in your craft, and it's evidenced because you are commissioned by some very well-known people. Yeah. We're going to end up paying a visit in a little while to the Dogwood Hangout here in Blue Ridge, where your work hangs there in the fame of a very famous person.
Yeah, we have Jerry Garcia hanging there of the Grateful Dead. The owner is a tremendous Deadhead, big Grateful Dead fan, so he came to me and asked me to do the piece, and it's now hanging there.
But you enjoy the work for anyone, of where you can meet them. You've begun to do a lot of pet portraits, too.
We do a lot of commissions, a lot of pet commissions of dogs, a lot of horses, which is one of my favorite, if not my favorite, animal to create with pyrography. It always seems that I always find a piece of wood that matches up almost perfectly with a horse every time.
I had asked you too on the pieces of wood component, if you had maybe an old house or you had a tree that fell in your backyard, can people provide a meaningful piece of wood to you?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. If it's wood and I have fire, we can burn an image in it.
I love the romantic side of a story, so it was fun to me when you and I were talking. Your life has taken you a lot of different places. You went to school in Brooklyn at
Pratt
the Pratt
Institute, yes.
But your formative years were in 2 different beautiful places.
Yeah.
Upstate New York.
Yeah, I was born in upstate New York, not too far north of the city. You go up the Hudson, and I was born in a town called Newburgh, which actually looks very similar, to where, we are now in Blue Ridge. And then my family relocated when I was young to Helen, Georgia, which again is not too far off, terrain-wise and everything from here. So, throughout my travels, living in Brooklyn and living in Atlanta, I always found that I kind of gravitated towards, coming back to nature and where I grew up and, creating, images.
It's very stimulating. One thing that we didn't talk about when you were mentioning the 4 elements of the gallery, and I said the 5 senses, you have obviously the images, but you've added sound in.
Yeah, well, we want to immerse people in that elemental experience when they walk in. So, each partition that we have here is dedicated to one of the elements in nature. And here, these images are created with fire. So you'll hear fire crackling, and all the images are kind of associated with that. And as you go throughout the gallery, each partition is dedicated to one of the elements. So it kind of immerses you, in the experience of being there. If you're looking, at a at a image of a stream,
Right.
we have running water going as well, which kind of, enhances
to
the whole
it.
experience.
It's amazing what social media has done. I mean, there was a time when it would have been, oh, you ought to go to Blue Ridge, which you should do, and see this amazing gallery, but you had to literally be here to see the work. Social media has taken you to a whole nother platform and audience. Some of your pieces are getting 3+ million views, right?
Yeah, we've had about 4 or 5 videos that have had 3+ million views. So it's, it's rewarding, and, it inspires me to, kind of create more, when I get that kind of reaction.
When you have people come in to the gallery, is there kind of a common experience that you see them have? Like, do they immediately get quiet? Are they kind of afraid to talk for a bit?
Well, it depends. Sometimes, people come in and they're automatically right off the bat just coming in and, oh my goodness, I wonder how that was done. And they get into a conversation about it. And then as I welcome them in, I kind of explain, about the gallery and the immersive experience, and then they kind of quieten up and kind of walk around trying to take it all in. So.
You've been working on a piece while we were here of a bald eagle.
Yes.
I think it's a bald eagle and
Yes,
not a golden
it is.
eagle. Light is a big component, right?
Oh, it absolutely is. Well, whenever you're creating art, for me, I always kind of like to play with the light and dark, the contrast aspect of things, and there's no better way to kind of exploit that than through great lighting. So a lot of the pieces that I do and create, I try and, especially if I do like, human portraits with photography, the lighting and all that's a very, very important aspect.
It is absolutely stunning. So thank you for letting
Thank
us
you.
come in and share in the experience. It's 4 Elements Fine Art. One more reason that you should come up and pay a visit to Blue Ridge, Georgia, whether it's for a summertime visit or think ahead to the fall. This is a must-see place when you come to these beautiful North Georgia mountains. Thanks again, George.
Thank you.